what we do. Deal with happiness, we feel that is an inner experience as opposed to a reaction to what's going outside. So as an organization, we spend a lot of time trying to understand the self, especially as a spiritual being. So certainly happy to share more or visit our website to learn more. Regarding the theme, harmony in relationships, very connected to happiness. Probably every time we give the course or public programs, when it comes to questions, one of the top questions we get is, how do I deal with the situation with family, or how do I deal with this situation with work? It always seems to be about relationships. It always seems to come down to that. So I think it's such a relevant topic that affects all of us, harmony in relationships. Does anyone feel that they have harmony in all relationships in their life? And how many types of relationships do we have? When we say relationships, we always think about people. But do you know you have relationships with time, and with matter, and with thoughts, and with wealth? The list goes on and on. You have multiple relationships, as well as with people. Is there harmony in every relationship? And what would my life be like if there was harmony in every relationship? So, really powerful topic to explore, and we have a very powerful speaker with us tonight to explore. I'm really delighted. You must be a very special crowd, because our speaker comes from the other side of the country. He is the national coordinator for the Brahma Kumaris in Canada, although he actually is the one who was the instrument to establish the Calgary Center. So he has strong roots in Calgary as well. And I think, Eric, our speaker, has a really good grounding in the topic, because whenever you take any kind of leadership or coordinator role, the bulk of what you're doing is dealing with relationships. I'd say that's probably most of his emails. It's a lot of harmonizing relationships. So I think he has a lot of experience. So without further ado, I'll invite Eric to come up. And there's so much more I could say, but he asked me not to. So I'm controlling myself right now. I will say that he is such a wonderful soul who's so easy to harmonize with.
So warm greetings to everyone, and so happy to spend some time with you. Relationships is such a huge topic, and so I'm trying to catch the stage in which we are all now and how to approach this issue, because we can take it from so different angles. And I was actually starting to really enjoy listening to Judy, so she could have gone on for an hour. It would have been really nice. It's true that I think relationships are part of us, and we are in relationships in so many different ways. The question, I think, to start would be, do you have any idea of how much your happiness is shaped by your relationships? Have you ever tried to determine where is your happiness coming from? Of course, there's ice cream, top of the list, so that's definitely a good source of happiness, right? You can have ice cream, you can have many other things, and at some point you see a lot of names showing up, isn't it? How many grandparents we have in the room? Yeah, I can see smiles of grandparents, yeah. How much happiness comes from the grandchildren? Are they not little bubbles of happiness? Sometimes. Oh yeah? Where is our happiness coming from in our relationships? But at the same time, how much can we suffer because of relationships? And it seems that in the world today, every conflict that we can think about is usually due to the fact that the relationship went really wrong. Could be between two people, could be between two nations, could be between humankind and nature. And usually these relationships, when they really crack on their, people involved in those relationships. They can cause a lot of suffering, a lot of pain. If you had to make a list of all the relationships you have, like Judy said, it would be a long list. I did an exercise one day which was very interesting, and I really invite you to try it. It's quite fascinating. And I took a big piece of paper and I put my name right in the middle. This is me. And I wanted to identify all the people. I left aside the animals, that was getting too complicated. So I started with human beings. All the human beings in my life that really, really count for me. So leaving aside people that you don't know, but you don't really have relationships. So I was thinking, what would be the names of people I really want to keep a contact with, people that matter enough that I want to have their email address, their phone number, that really count for me, even if I only speak to them once a year or twice a year. And I started to put names, and the thought was, put names based on the closeness of the relationship. Put them on a paper closer to your name or in the distance. I had to start 2-3 times because I started a few times, actually these ones should squeeze in there. So I started again. And I realized that there was kind of families of relationships. Some were really, really, really close. And I was very surprised to see who I ended up putting really the closest. I thought there would be other people, but when I really asked myself, who are the most important people in my life ever, then these names came up. And I put them very, very close. And then I saw, okay, there was definitely a work environment group of people. Some more relatives, family members, friends, people who really impacted my life. And it was fascinating to see. In my case, I found 108 names on the paper. And I thought, no wonder why I have headaches answering emails or feeling that I'm missing my friends from time to time. How many can you meet? I would have to meet people only 3 times a year to be able to meet everyone, if I meet one person a day. And the thought was, wow, okay, these are a lot of people. When we walk through life, if we think about it, is it not that every time we meet someone, there's an invisible little thread that is being created, and then you meet someone, there's a connection. Sometimes you disconnect quickly, so, oh, we're not getting there. And other times you connect and say, nice, interesting, let me pursue connection. What's your phone number? Yeah, okay. Can we see each other? Okay. So the thread becomes a little bit more constant, stable, then it becomes a cable, then, how do you call it, fiber optic or something like that, high-speed connection, that's good. Then you add 3D video, it's getting really intense connection. It's just a connection. And one day that connection might be broken. But at the moment there are living connections. So how many of these little threads are we creating and putting here and there? And if you think about it as a human being, we create those little threads with people. Then we attach dogs, they come along, cats, hamsters, birds, all kind of peripheral events happening. But some get really, really so big cables. Some people will have a relationship with their dog greater than with their God, They just reversed it. And they end up praying the dog instead of praying God, because God got fired anyway in their relationships. Then there's relationships also with nature, with your house, with your car, with your shoes, with your clothes, with your everything. So all these little threads, what does it happen? What does it make of us? It makes of us as a being with, hundreds of little, is it an introvert, tentacles? Or like the animal, has tentacles or little threads or arms or, connections happening. And my experience is that those connections I'm creating with so many people, so many things, they are conduits of energy. It's not neutral. One person says something to you, it has an impact. You remember someone, it has an impact. Those relationships can really lift you up, can really take you down, isn't it? And sometimes we don't see it coming. Some relationships we can't avoid. Some relationships are choices. We chase after them, actually. That's what they say. You just cruise somebody, you end up on a cruise. In relation, it's a relationship. That's how it works. You're in a ship in relation with someone, and you don't know where the ship is going. So that's your relationship on the ocean of your life. So all these connections, at some point, really start to affect who I am. How is my life? I really cannot count how many people I've been in connection with that have been sharing with me what their situation is. And sometimes I realize there are amazing people with great talents, powerful faculties, but their life is completely paralyzed because of one relationship that has become so toxic that it has created, really, really negative, painful, destructive energy in their life. I'm sure you know some of those people, and maybe you went through that as well. Maybe sometimes we're very happy at work and suddenly your boss comes up with something new, and then before you know you are completely affected. And what happens is that after you hear the news, your relationship with your boss on an external level doesn't change, okay, fine. But mentally, what happens? Your relationship is mental. How many times do you have a discussion with someone in your head and the person is not even there? So you find it's happening. An image that I like, and I'm just putting pieces together and then we'll tie them up together. But if you were to imagine yourself as a building, do you know how many rooms you have rented to people inside? Do you know how many people live in you? This is a scary part of psychology. Opening your head and saying, oh my goodness, a lot of people in there. Are they all paying rent properly, or do you agree with them being there, or are you okay with them living there? How many people squatted your brain? You don't want them in your head, but they live in your head. Anyone has such relationships? You really want them out, but they live there. And they took the penthouse. They just took a few flats, made them the kingdom, and they say, hey, how are you today? Out. No. They come up every day, they show up there, they live there, they bring their friends, their dogs, their everything. You cut with them, they don't pay rent. And you want to pull them out, but they don't come out. Anyone have such tenants? We have all our own tenants in our heads. In relationships, sometimes people think that the calculation is 1 + 1 = 1. Relationships makes you really think in strange ways. And so they think if you are 1 + 1, you become 1. Is that calculation of relationships? We merge with each other. They watch a few French movies, usually, it's always French, roses and songs and violin and looking in each other's eyes and I'm merging in you and we're becoming one. It's very romantic, it's beautiful. And then you look at the celebrity magazines and this romance never lasts very long. So some people think that relationships means half + half = 1, and they think this is better. I'm half, you're half, together we make 1. And they call them my half partner. It's a little bit reductive, but it's okay, it's a new title, it's my half partner. So it's another calculation, half + half = 1. My calculation of relationship is 1 + 1 = 3. So none of them make really 2. It never makes 1 + 1 = 2, but to me 1 + 1 = 3. It's me, it's the other, and the relationships becomes a living entity, almost of its own. Because that relationship is not really me, but it affects me, and it affects the other. And if I don't see the relationship between me and the other, I always think that's the other impacting me. But actually it's not the other, it's the relationship that impacts me. And I'm contributing to that relationship. So now all these little things put together will bring me to the question, how much do you feel that you are investing time, energy, everything in making those relationships more harmonious? What are we doing to make those relationships harmonious? Or are we just having relationships and they happen or not to bring harmony? So who is responsible to create harmony in the relationship? You might say, well, half and half, isn't it? 50-50. You do your share, I do mine. That's 50-50. Could be that. Could be that. Then you need a good therapist if you want to do that. You need someone to help you sorting out what's the 50% of that one and what's your 50%. But if you don't go to a therapist every day to check, what's happening, you negotiate with your partner or with the person you're in a relationship with. So we all go on and we all know these situations. You may want to tell a person, you know what you told me yesterday? It really affected me and I didn't like it. Can we work on it? Yeah, we work on that relationship. But what if the other person doesn't want to go your way? And what if the other person feels that you are responsible for what's going wrong in the relationship? So we know relationships can be very, very complicated. They can be very simple, but they can turn out to be very complicated. And my experience through life is honestly that a big, big chunk of my happiness and sorrow dependent on my relationships. And like many young person, for example, my main aim really as a younger person was to be in love, isn't it? When you are 18, 16, 20, what do you search for? Yeah, good job, good house, everything, but you search for a relationship, isn't it? Look at the market of relationships today. I mean, I've never been in there, but I look at all the options. Wow. Before it was very simple. It was called go, have a drink, meet friends, and then something will happen. Today is going into internet, and you have really many, many options. Judy didn't mention, but my profession is television producer and journalist. So I work on news and documentaries. And I did the story a while ago for CBC about, it was the beginning of online dating back many, many years ago. And we were filming a woman who was very kind enough and humble enough to allow us to film her whilst dating on the phone. And it was quite interesting because imagine the times when the phones had, had they called touch-tone phones, you had to, big thing, and the receiver was with a wire, and it sounds so prehistorical. But she was in one of those phones, with wire connected to the wall. I mean, I know some younger ones will not know what I'm talking about, but it used to happen. And she would make those calls, and then, there was this, I can't remember where she got this number, but she get a number, she called, and then the man will answer, and then she will tell us, I want to know how he looks like, so I make a little drawing. So she will interview the gentleman, the bait, I call it the bait, on the other side of the phone, and say, okay, John, just nice to meet you, and this and the other. If I had to make a little drawing of you, what would I do? Would I put some glasses on? Yeah, okay, glasses. She look at me. Glasses. Okay, I don't know. Now what about the hair? Will I put some hair? Oh, no hair. Okay. Interview over. Oh, Shanti. That was it. And she would hang up right in front of us at some point, making the interview very short, because the criteria were really not according to what she was chasing after. And she said, it's shopping. What I do every night is just shopping. You just go and then search for your partner. And I thought, wow, wait, this was, part of the relationships. And when people look for someone else, it's becoming very specific, height and color of hair and eyes and this and that. What kind of relationship would that be if we start like that? So we're filming this, and of course we realize that now today people find it very difficult to create relationships, and the trend is very much to go online and to find somebody. But when I was thinking about now, what do I do in my life to change my relationships? Or how much do I feel the relationships is imposing upon me, my reality and my level of happiness and sorrow? So again, what do you think will be your personal commitment to work on those relationships? And these commitments, will they be by choice or by force? Be both, right? Sometimes you're forced to address an issue in relationship. But are we always having choices? Can we always improve a relationship? And so, for me, the thought really is about how much do I really want to create harmony in a relationship. And I think to the extent that we really want that, we will make it happen. To the extent that we expect the relationship to bring happiness to me, then it's totally the opposite scenario. And then we become very dependent on the relationship. Do you see the difference? How much do I really want to create harmony in a relationship versus how much do I expect the relationship to bring harmony in my life? What do you think would be the driving force for most people? Expectation, isn't it? So you go into a relationship and you expect. Parents will say to their children, I created you, but I didn't expect this. I was expecting it. The next one, and the little boy said, "Sorry, Mom, this is what I'll pick up the number. Here I am. What can I do?" You expect something, but then what is happening? We don't know. So this is a very big engine in relationship about how much do I really want to create harmony versus how much do I expect harmony. And very honestly, for me, most of my life in the beginning was about expecting. And I was chasing after relationships that will provide me with a higher level of happiness, of course. If I don't fall in love with someone, if I don't feel love for someone, I would suspect that that relationship will not be, the ideal relationship. I was doing another interview one day with a couple, and they were from what they call arranged marriage, which is quite traditional in many cultures. And so the families look for partners for their children. And I know in the West we don't like too much that concept sometimes. But, I was very respectfully covering about what the traditions are and how do you do it. And the ladies was very kind and they liked it. They were very, very happy. And the whole story was about the woman telling me, "I'm so happy my mom takes time to look for someone, about someone for me." She tells me a little bit, and then I don't have time, I'm studying, so I'm happy to focus on my study, and my mother is shopping for me. Okay, that's fine. It's a style, And then she said, and plus, marriage is not, and I know I'm not judging at all if it's good or bad, it's just cultural realities, but she was saying, we have to marry two families, we don't marry two people. And in their culture, you have to marry two families. So mom knows about it. She will, bring me some nice some possibilities. And we met the husband-to-be, and it was a very nice story. It was very positive, and they didn't know each other too much, but all the matches were there, and all the proper system of their culture was respected. And she just told me, she says, for them, they came from another culture, and they were actually in Vancouver. And she said, in your culture here, what you do is that you fall in love, and then you learn to live together. And he says, for us, we live together, and we learn to love each other. And to me, it kind of went, okay, sorry, I'll think about it in my meditation in the future. So I didn't, it's the first time I heard something like that. I was, 27, 28. So I thought about it afterwards, and I thought, it's not one system is better than the other. It's just that how do you approach relationships could be quite different. You fall in love with someone, and then you discover something else. Or you create a relationship for good purposes and normal, let's say, moral and deep senses, and then you learn to live with the other person. You learn to appreciate the other person. And that's a very different trail in life. You don't create relationship the same way. So based on how much do we really want to create harmony in relationship, it changes everything. I'll tell you a very personal story, and the reason I came to Canada actually was very simple. I really thought for a long time that France was a very, very small country for my dad and me. And it's too small, I needed space. And my dad and me needed space because we were too, it wasn't working very well, and it was bothering me. It was a love-hate relationship where I loved him, but at the same time I was really in conflict with him. And it was really, honestly, completely affected my life. I was 20 years old and studying and always being fighting with my family and this and that. I wasn't very happy in my love relationships either. And I thought the problem is, France is too small. I need space. So I thought Canada will be definitely giving me a lot of space away from my dad. There will be a big pond of water in between. That's fine. We just don't see each other too often. And I really honestly moved to Montreal at that time. I was 21. And then I was terrified with the idea that even across the ocean, the relationship that I was trying to move away from just was there. Nothing changed really. I was in another country, thousands of miles away from someone that was pulling my head, and it was still pulling my head. And I thought, no, come on. I moved so far away to get free from that thought, but it didn't go away. And after I joined the Brahma Kumaris and Raj Yoga, we were told very different stories. And I remember very well the class about forgiveness and how to forgive everyone and to love everyone. And I just raised my hand and said, is there possible exceptions in that theory, or is it like 100% really, or can we have exceptions? Just one or two. It wouldn't be many, just one or two. And the person, no exceptions. If you forgive everyone. I said, it's not possible. I said, there's one person I cannot. And a few, but this one in particular. And it was really strong in my heart that no way I'm going to be able to overcome that relationship. But because of the teachings were very specific about, no, just see the person as a soul, not as your dad. Think of the person, this is your soul, this is a soul. And look at him totally differently. Don't bring in your head again all this identity, this is my dad. Just see that person as a soul. But also, it generated the feeling in me that I want to change that relationship. And I know that from the other side, it will not be 50% investment in it. If I want to get rid of that toxic relationship, it's 100% personal commitment. And there will be zero commitment on the other side. And I was understanding that, okay, this is not what I would like, but okay, I will try that. So the thought was, you just change your thoughts, change your vision, change your attitude of who you are in that relationship. And the whole work was quite intense. And in meditation I would do for quite a long time. I would invite my dad in meditation. And I said, I'm not looking at you, you just come and sit next to me. And I would imagine this beautiful light in front of me, and I would say to that light, you take care of that one. I'm just, bringing it to you, but you are taking care. I'm not going to heal anything. And I found that for a moment, there was quite a regular series of sessions where I would be meditating with my dad next to me. And then I would change my thought, it's not my dad, it's a soul. It's my brother's soul. He came on earth like me, we're playing these roles, but he has his destiny, I have mine. So I started thinking that way. And I remember when going back to France 2 years later, met the family, everything, and I knew I was going to meet my dad, and my sisters were there, and then we had family events, everything, and in the evening they left me, all right, thinking of the night, this is your turn with your dad. And usually these evening sessions turn a little bit funny, usually after a few minutes. So I was prepared, as Rajogi, thinking, this is it, this is the day, I'm changing that relationship, so I was all prepared. And I was staring at him probably in a very weird way. You're not my dad, you're not my dad, you're not my dad, you're just a soul, you're just a soul. You're my brother, you're not my dad, you're not my dad. I was really strongly trying to practice, imagining him meditating in front of God and everything. And he must have thought, are you okay, right? You look a little bit funny. And I was just creating that powerful vibration. And I'm talking about a relationship that was really intense. There was things in the past, didn't get along with my mom. So the roots were really serious. And just to tell you, it's not just changing a little conflict in relationship. There's a serious, what we call in spirituality, karmic bondage relationship. So I was practicing looking at him, and it was really a part of my brain saying, you see, he didn't change. He's so arrogant. I saw, no, he's a soul, he's just coming on earth, he's doing his best like you. So I was really a complete schizophrenic person in front of my dad, who probably had no idea what was going on with me and why I wanted to have that conversation in the evening with him. But the vibration suddenly changed completely, because I was repeating to myself, he's a soul, he's a soul, he's a soul. And suddenly, I went straight into the topic, and I said, well, I want to hear from you about this. And suddenly we entered a discussion, or really a conversation that ended up on the sunrise next morning. It was intense. There was moments where my negative voice came up, but other times the other voice, no, he's a soul, he's a soul. But I think the vibration changed in such a way that I saw somebody in there that I never saw before. And he told me for the first time in our life things that I never heard before, which actually I never asked for. I never asked a question, because I was stuck with my own judgment. You did this, you did that, you should have been like this, you should have been like that. And I was so stubborn about my vision on the person that I never opened the door to something completely different. And what was revealed to me in that discussion was suddenly a being that I started to think, whoa, it's been there all the time, I've never seen it. And this is a beautiful part of that being. How come I never saw it? And I started asking more questions, and we ended up in a conversation about life. He told me things that I never knew about him. He says, I wanted to be a priest. I said, what? You wanted to be a priest? Never heard that. And so we started a conversation that was so interesting. And until really sunrise, and we said, we'd better go to bed before my sisters wake up. They will wonder what we're doing. And my dad was not a tactic person. He's not tactic, but
tactile.
Yeah, tactile. So thank you. It's not like someone you hug and French people kiss on the cheek very, very little, and that's it. Good night. Shouldn't touch more than half a second. And I never had a hug from my dad. That's not his type. I appreciated that. Or I didn't. And so after we had that visit, when I left 2 days later, he usually sat on a chair, very official with his wine and everything. He's a very French person. And then that day he said, okay, I'll take you to the door. And I really immediately felt, no, that sounds really wrong. He never told me that. He'd take me to the door. So he came to the door. And then I was actually, by the way, taking his car, so maybe I thought he's concerned about that. Me leaving with the car, but fair concern. Okay, he's just going to watch if I can even start the car and go with it. And then, so I was about to go to the car and my suitcase, everything. And then I really felt something was very strange, and I cannot explain. It's that part of the brain at that time that is not rational. And I just turned around and I went to him, and I knew something was going to happen. So I went close to him, and I took him in my arms. And we never hugged before, never ever. So I took his arm, and I put it behind. I said, You just squeeze a little bit, you'll see it's very nice. Hugging 101, just squeeze. And we squeeze like that, and you stay there for a while. And we really squeezed like this, and it was such an incredible moment. And to me, in that moment, the whole knot, the whole toxic, moment that was built for years and years and years and years and years and years, melted completely. And we were both crying, of course, and this first hug when you are 20 many years old. It is such an incredible moment. And I'm telling you that story because for me it captions really the whole essence of relationships. And I'm talking a relationship where when I left France, it was after both my dad and I went into a fairly good fight, yelling at each other and then chasing each other almost in the house, and both ending up with our fist like this and stopping, thinking, wow, okay, this is really going too far. So I'm not talking a light relationship, it's something intense. And the only reason I can share the story publicly is because the name that I put next to my name on the piece of paper, and then you will guess who it is now, and it was my dad. And so today my most beautiful, I would say, relationship, or one of the person that is the dearest to me, it's definitely my dad. And that love that was created, I was so proud and so thankful. I went back to my teacher in Raju, I said, it works, thank you. We just cleared a big, big wall, and I can move back to France now, but that is too late, because my roots were already in Canada. But I was so happy that this relationship could be transformed, and I never, ever imagined that it would be possible. But the willingness of changing the relationship, and today my dad is the same. He's changed, of course. He's older and he went through life, lost his wife. Life did beautiful things on him too, and he's such an amazing person. But the connection we have today is 100% pure. I can really honestly say today in my life, I don't think of anyone I don't get along with, or I don't have a good relationship with, not one. I had recently at work a very big challenging time, but quickly changing that relationship again and learning to see someone that really stabs you almost in the back and say, okay, I didn't like it, but I want harmony in my relationship, regardless of who it is. Some relationships, of course, we can move away from. You don't have to be masochistic and torture yourself in a relationship. But if we cannot leave the relationship, and if it's a working relationship or family relationship, and you're stuck with it, at least we can make that commitment. I'm not going to let that relationship affect my life. And this is in my hand. Because I'm me, relationship is one thing, and the other person is a third entity. And what I have to pay attention to is that relationship, if it's a good relationship or a bad relationship, I need to pay attention to that. And if the relationship is a negative, then the question is, am I willing, do I really want to create harmony in relationship? The mantra, the kind of method, the recipe I'm using, which I like very, very much, is who do you want to be, or who do I want to be in life? Do you want to be someone who breaks people's hearts? And in French we have so many poems of love and songs of love, and the most beautiful songs is what? I'm not going to sing it, but you know it. Ne me quitte pas. Brel, don't leave me, don't break my heart, don't abandon me, don't let me, or La Vie en Rose, the songs, yeah, very beautiful songs. I love songs all the time. But the issue is always, are you going to end up with a broken heart or a golden heart? And I've always been aware that I can break people's heart easily, or I can conquer people's heart. And I think harmony in relationship comes from how do I see myself in creating relationships. I'm not dependent on relationships. I create relationships. And if I become as self-sovereign in my life, which is what Right Yoga is teaching us, how to create, control over my mind, over my emotions, over my personality, over who I am. This is what we do in spirituality. Then I want to create relationships and not be victim of relationships or dependent on relationships. And to create harmony in relationship, to me, is all about conquering people's heart. Honestly, not with selfish, dishonest motives, because that could be quite bad, but with a very spiritual, genuine concern that if I conquer people's heart, I will be able to share at that level something which is beautiful, meaningful, and I will serve the other person. And I will be served, of course. Relationship will be wonderful. And I'll leave you with an image that is, to me, very, very powerful. Because when we are in a relationship, we tend to say, I love you, you love me, isn't it? And we like it. If somebody says, I hate you, okay, thank you. I think we'll not have coffee tomorrow anymore, just let's cancel that, isn't it? So we are very, sensitive to that energy. But to create harmony in relationship, for me, for a while, I learned that there's another way to go. And before I say I love you, I check myself to see, am I filled with love? Either you're here or not. Am I a being of love? And this is spirituality. Spirituality means you sit in front of a wall, and then you say, okay, I'm open, I want to fill myself with love. No one around, no dogs, no gods, no one, just you. And then you tune in the potential of the soul, and you say, I, the soul, I want to experience love, because I am a spiritual being. And the nature of me as a spiritual being is to be filled with love. Do you believe that? If you look at a flower, the nature of the flower is to create fragrance. It's not that if a big nose shows up, the flower says, oh, big nose, big fragrance, and it's... Flower doesn't change the fragrance based on the nose that comes to it, unless I didn't follow my course in biology properly. I never see a rose saying, I don't like this nose at all, bad nose. Things happen that way. The rose just gives fragrance, isn't it? So who are we? Are we spiritual roses? Or are we kind of something else? So the power of me as a spiritual being, having invested time, energy in cultivating my own inner garden, allows me to be filled with love and then look at other people. And it's not a matter anymore of saying, do I love you or do you love me? It's a matter of, can we share in love? I have love to share, do you? And if you don't, that's okay, I have extra. And that will determine the relationship. And if the other person has love to share with me and I have love to share with the other person, well, that's great. And I like those relationships. But if I find that the other person has no love to share with me, that's okay too. Because, well, it sounds strange to say, but I'm a rose. Today, in the thread of my thought. And tomorrow I might be a tulip, so less smell, but I don't know. Today, we're a rose. So, how are we doing with time? Because I don't see the clock. Can you tell me?
We're beyond that.
All right.
Here.
I promised her that two things. I will not talk about tennis. So that was my biggest challenge.
Has a deep relationship with tennis.
I have two passions in life. Meditation and tennis. And the last few sharing I've made was mostly about tennis. So when we were driving here, she didn't tell me, she said, oh, by the way, I have to tell you where we're going. It's a tennis club. I said, how dare you do this to me? I can really want me to concentrate. And I really love tennis. So for me, it's a pleasure to be here and knowing that nice things are happening behind, and I know they close all the windows. So I don't hear the sound of the ball, and I don't see anyone playing tennis. But I'm very happy that I can share with you, and just a little. Relationship is a very, very deep topic. I wish kind of a chance to really take different issues, because there may be many, many questions. But the program I think tonight is very beautiful, because what we wanted to do is, yes, just trigger the sparkle in everyone's mind. And I know that after listening, hopefully you don't feel like running away, but hopefully you'd like to stay for an hour. And you may have some thoughts to play with in your mind. And we're going to have 1 hour meditation now. So it's going to be really perfect to sit with yourself and to take time to figure out maybe some of your relationships. And this meditation we're going to do now is called World Meditation Hour. So every third Sunday of the month, all around the world, all the centers of the Brahma Kumaris dedicate 1 hour to world meditation. So we spread peace, love, energy, positive energy to the world. And we really believe that mental energy is as real as electricity, oil, gas, water. It's an energy. So if I'm thinking in a with a higher consciousness, that frequency of energy reaches out the world. And you may want to take that opportunity in this meditation to think of people with whom you don't have a good relationship and give them love. So feel that this is a beautiful garden of roses, and we're all spiritual roses together. And that this is a very beautiful moment that we created together, and you're committing yourself to be 1 hour sitting in silence or with music and commentaries, but using the mind to create those beautiful thoughts and to feel that I want to create harmony in all my relationships. Whatever happened, whoever they are, I can't keep suffering because of those. I can't allow these negativity to ruin my life to a certain extent. So let me turn around the system. Let's go into the garden of Allah, be a rose, spread that energy, and feel that the strength comes not from the relationship but from me. And I bring that strength in the relationship. So we'll have this opportunity to meditate together for an hour. And worldwide, we think that over 1 million people today, over the 24-hour time frame, have been meditating, doing that. And to start this meditation, it's going to be happening in a beautiful way, because we're going to invite you all to come in the front, one by one, and you will be receiving a beautiful blessing. We call it a blessing. And there are magic little tricks from the garden. The gardener is planning all this. And everyone will receive a thought, and that thought will be read loud, publicly, so you'll hear it. But that thought is for you. And the collective energy will make that thought even more real, because it's really for you. So when you come in front, we'll do something very unusual. We'll just smile. We'll just look at each other's eyes, because this is how we're not being looked at often enough as a soul, as a spiritual being. I don't know most of you, so don't be shy. We'll just look at each other as friends, as brothers and sisters, as human beings on earth who are just together enjoying this beautiful garden. And whilst we're exchanging this beautiful spiritual look, you'll hear your blessing and I'll give you a sweet. And then that will be the launch of this hour of meditation.
Kindness. You have a beautiful heart that is so full with the treasures of true happiness that it naturally overflows with feelings of purity and peace into the world. True goodness. You direct your heart, mind, vision, and awareness to one singular goal: benevolence. Gentleness. You are a nurturing soul who plants greatness in the future of others by, while seeing all, watering with feelings of care the seed of unique beauty within. Empowerment. You are a mature soul who makes every moment precious through a constant desire to discover the best within the self. Surrender. You are a beautiful soul who immerses the self in peace by emerging the spirituality within. Grace. Your life is a bouquet of blessings blossoming from your natural capacity to understand, appreciate, and uplift. Introversion. You are a powerful soul who remains beyond the attraction to all that causes sorrow by remaining absorbed in the beauty of all that is eternal. Perseverance. You are a wise soul who understands that the quantity of one's self-belief ultimately drives the quality of one's life. Easiness. You are a beautiful soul who breathes purity, speaks love, and thinks peace. Sweetness. You are a special soul with the magical capacity to melt frozen hearts and warm cold dreams with the power of your peaceful mind and elevated attitude. Eric does not bite, so he can come. It's hard for him when you step far away. Stability. You are a wise soul who's able to bring stability, patience, and understanding to every moment by diving far below the waves of situations into the depths of personal potential. Cheerfulness. You are a pure-hearted soul who contributes to a kinder world simply by seeing all through love-colored glasses. Uniqueness. You stand out in a crowd as one with a kind heart, serene mind, appreciative vision, and gracious attitude. Farsightedness. You are a patient soul where moments of inactivity or even adversity are opportunities to experience more deeply your throne of self-respect. Brilliance. You are a fortunate soul who has the power of self-renewal simply by reawakening every day to a spiritual sense of self. Wisdom. With your powerful eye of detachment, you see behind the scenes and beneath the masks to the heart of what really matters. Real. You have the heart of one who loves the truth and the head of one who is free to live it. Flexibility. You are a lucky soul who can give themselves an attitude adjustment before life does. Trustworthy. By opening your heart, you let the best of others in and the beauty within out. You are blessed with the fortune of a graceful heart, royal attitude, and generous vision. Peace. You are a special soul who, by filling the heart with the beauty of pure silence, fills every moment with the grace of an angel. Contentment. You move through life with the brilliance of one who is completely at peace with the self. Responsibility. You are an honest and brave-hearted soul who chooses to see what can be changed, rather than never changing how they choose to see. Understanding. You are a beautiful soul who brings the fragrance of compassion into a world hungry for humanity. Self-respect. You are a beautiful soul who moves through life with the grace of one whose heart is patient, mind is light, and attitude is pure. Compassion. You are a creator of quality, bringing care and kindness to every little act of life. Sincerity. You are a pure-hearted soul who sprinkles feelings of love and kindness over the world, far beyond all boundaries. Dignity. You have the wisdom to base your happiness on a powerful foundation of pure, unshakable self-respect. Compassion. You live in perfect balance, feeling through the clarity of a peaceful mind and understanding through the power of a generous heart. Balance. You are a wise soul who has come to understand that true balance has nothing to do with the portion of control on the plate of your life, but everything to do with equal servings of all your capacities on the plate of your life. Faith. You are a wise soul who knows the nobility of the self is never lost, just kept safe in the container of the heart, until the perfect moment comes for reawakening. Clarity. Where others might see problems and challenges, you see solutions and possibilities, because your vision is filled only with love and regard. Carefree. You are a happy-hearted soul who has discovered the freedom of living from the inside out, the awesomeness of making authenticity the priority. Cooperation. Through pure feelings and non-judging attitudes, your powerful presence creates sacred spaces where harmony thrives. Elevated. You move peacefully through the maze of life, allowing the compass of your heart to pose the questions that lead you inward, upwards, and onwards. Courage. You are a brave soul who harnesses the power of purity within and directs it towards acts of greatness that inspire others to let go and be true. Harmony. You are a fortunate soul who, out of all the riches in the world, chooses to accumulate a wealth of silence within, empowering you to move through life with clarity, patience, lightness, and peace. Appreciation. You are a contented soul who brings the sweetness of respect to every interaction. Fullness, as a peaceful soul, you find silence far from empty, but rather an experience which fills the atmosphere with lightness, magic, and power. Self-confidence. Your heart overflows with the serenity of one who moves through life lightly, holding nothing inside but the eternal treasure of perfect peace. Determination. Your heart is filled with the power to stick to the point, to stay true to what you love. Transparency. Your heart stays clean and light because it's filled with only pure feelings. Loyalty. You keep your heart light and clean by focusing on what uplifts, resolves, and empowers, beginning with the self. Purity. You are a royal soul who can create cultures of respect simply through the power of pure feelings and pure attitudes. Caring. You are an authentic soul who honors the goodness in their own heart by celebrating the goodness in others. Maturity. You are a wise soul who appreciates the value of what cannot be seen by the eyes, but can be felt by the heart. Abundance. You are an angelic soul who moves gracefully through the world, moved by deep love for all. Transformation. You are a powerful soul who serves as a peacemaker on the world stage through quiet acts of love and regard. Freedom. You are a gentle soul who creates safe spaces at times of darkness simply by staying light and enlightened. Real. You are a wise soul who is far more concerned about the intentions driving what you choose to do than the results of what you choose to do. Dignity. You are a royal soul who rules their heart, mind, and character from the throne of self-respect. Self-worth. You are a brilliant soul who radiates with the beauty of valuing what is eternal in the self. Silence. You are a beautiful soul who infuses every thought, word, and deed with the fragrance of peace. Serenity. By planting seeds of peace within your heart, you plant seeds of hope within our world. Creativity. You are a light-hearted soul who embraces the journey of life, an adventure of allowing the beauty within to find expression outside. And on behalf of all of you, blessing. Everyone has had the chance to come, yes? A blessing for Brother Eric here. Originality. You are a pure soul. Period. No, there's more. They look a lot like tennis balls, actually. You are a pure soul who creates a sense of well-being simply by touching the heart of truth inside.
You didn't make it up, right?
These were actually all created by Sister Nora.
And on behalf of all of you, for Sister Judy, alright, I don't need it. Freedom. You're a wise soul who understands that the most important part of making a change is letting go. So let go. No, that's sweet for you.
You can have them all.
This is Easter, so it's the version of golden eggs.
So those of you who are staying for World Meditation Hour, you get a prize. Before you leave, I know Valerie was very sweet and she brought a special treat. So do not walk outside that door without getting your treat from Sister Valerie. It's Easter, so she brought something special. It's the prize for sticking around, so thank you. We're going to start, we already did, but continue with World Meditation Hours. So Eric's going to remain at the front. I will go away after a few words. And he'll just help us all to hold the atmosphere so we can really stay concentrated in that beautiful space. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. All right. And towards the end, he might speak a few words just to add a little bit more water to the seed of the experience. I'm going to invite each of you to look one more time at the blessing card you received. If you don't speak English, take the feeling from it. Look at the picture. See if you can go into the experience of that card that was just for you. Again, God chooses you because of your heart. So this blessing was chosen just for your heart. And that will be the starting point for this reflection. Inviting you to sit comfortably, but in a royal way that indicates the value of the self. This is a moment where we serve the world through the power of our mind and our heart. But before directing our attention outwards, I go deep inside. To the most important relationship. The one that colors all other relationships. The one I have with myself. I let go of any physical awareness of myself, the outer one. Go deep inside. The very essence of who I am. It's like going to the seed of the self. I might even visualize that seed of self as a beautiful diamond underground. I realize how rare it is for me to stop and just experience the wonder of the self at this deepest level, this eternal level. There is nothing more precious than life itself, and I am life, the living being. And within me are all the beautiful, most sought after resources in the world. Within me, unlimited capacities for peace, kindness, grace, sweetness, lightness. Such a deep pull in the heart to come home to a kind relationship with the self, to just be at peace with the self. Melts away all that is temporary, all that is not me. And fills the mind and heart with a sweet silence that is so healing. Creates such harmony within the self.
The inner eye can see the whole world. In this space of silence, I am with the whole world. And when I see this beautiful planet, I see the world. And I also see myself as one individual. I see myself as a beautiful being. I see myself as a soul. An energy of light in the world. And like a star in the sky, I'm a star of the earth. I am here in silence. Experiencing the inner light, the inner peace, and it shines through me. And it spreads throughout the world. I see myself as a beautiful spiritual flower in the garden of the world. And I spread the fragrance of love. This beautiful fragrance of love that nurtures the world, that heals the world. That sustains the world. For love is life, and life is love. And I am filled with this beautiful spiritual love. And my love spreads like a fragrance all around the world. And I can see faces of people and the fragrance of love reaches everyone. Some of my close friends, my relatives, but even some faces come in front of me. Of those with whom I don't have normally such a close relationship. But yet I give that love to everyone. And I spread that love. And I allow that love to reach all the corners of the world. I see myself as a being of love. And this is my gift to the world. The fragrance of love. The beauty of love. And the power of love.